Most people think quitting their job is risky, but staying is also a decision, and almost nobody really evaluate the risk of staying. We treat salary like safety, we treat change like danger, but zoom out, both are bets. So the question I kept getting stuck on wasn't should I quit? It was at what point does staying become the riskier move? And if you're watching this, I'm guessing you're not in a terrible situation. You're not miserable, nothing is obviously wrong. The job is fine, the money is fine. But some part of you just keep quietly asking whether this is actually what you choose if you were choosing freely. And that feeling deserve a more rigorous answer than, well, it's stable. So when I was working through this for myself, I realized I'd be asking the wrong question the entire time. So let's walk through the right ones. The question I kept asking was, what if this doesn't work? Wrong question. That question is too vague to be useful. It just loops. The question that actually helped was, if this doesn't work, what specifically happens? Do I drain all my savings and end up permanently worse off? Or do I just spend a year trying something, it doesn't pan out, and I go back to a similar job? Those are not the same scenario. And treating them the same was making the decision feel much heavier than it needed to be. So I got concrete about two things. One, runway. So how long could I live on savings and income went to zero? Not how long I'd want to try, but how long I could survive without making panic decisions. That number changes everything. With 2 months saved, you are forced. With 16 months, you have room to be deliberate. Second, and this is what most people never value enough, is the reversibility. If I leave and it doesn't work, can I re enter roughly where I left off? So Jeff Bezos has a useful framework. He splits decision into two types. Type 1 decisions are the one-way doors. Irreversible, high stakes, you go carefully. The type 2 decisions are two-way doors, meaning if it doesn't work, you walk back through. So just try it out. Most people treat career moves like they're type 1. But for most professional roles, they're actually type 2. The market doesn't forget you that fast. If you leave, spend a year on something, and it doesn't work, you're not permanently locked out. You can re enter. The door stays open. And once you correctly identify a decision as type 2, the emotional weight changes completely. It stops feeling like jumping off a cliff. It starts feeling like running an experiment with some defined parameters. So that mental shift is real. And it comes from the math, not from being brave. Here's where it gets more uncomfortable because the downside isn't actually the real risk. The real risk is what you're quietly giving up by staying. And most people never look at that number. Here, let's make it concrete. Say Maya is in a 120K job, solid company, decent trajectory, 3% raises a year. So in 5 years, Maya is making around 140K. Skills improved with a fairly defined lane. Savings grow. Her life is pretty stable. She probably checks LinkedIn at night and tell herself she'll revisit it the next year. She's not unhappy, she's just slightly numb. That's not a bad outcome, but it's a specific shape with a predictable ceiling. Now flip it. Maya leaves, spends a year building towards something with a wider range of outcomes. Worst case, it doesn't work. She re enters at a similar level. The cost is roughly 12 months of foregone income, call it 80 to 100K. So in probability, there's a concept called expected value. It's not about what's most likely to happen, it's about the full range of outcomes weighted honestly. And here's what most people miss: they only model the failure scenario when thinking about leaving. They never model the staying scenario all the way to its end. If the upside of the stable path has a non-ceiling and the upside of the other path is genuinely wider, that asymmetry matters. Not because the uncertain path is better, but because the comparison was never safe versus dangerous. It's predictable with a non-ceiling versus uncertain with a wider range of outcomes. Time compounds, that's unavoidable. The question is just which direction you choose. Okay, so now even working through all that, it still doesn't feel obvious. And I think this is the part that actually explains why smart people stay stuck. The guaranteed salary feels real. The upside of leaving feels abstract and distant. And that's not irrational, it's just how humans are wired. We weigh what we already have more heavily than potential future gains. Psychology call this loss aversion. And it's the main reason most people don't evaluate staying rationally. They wait until the pain of staying far exceed the fear of leaving. But pain is a terrible decision threshold in this case. It means you're making the call at your least strategic moment. There's a task I found more useful and simpler, but honestly a little uncomfortable to sit with. It's asking, if I were employed today, would I apply for this job at this salary? Not is it fine, not is it tolerable, it's would I actively choose it? If the honest answer is no, then staying isn't the default. It's an active choice, and it deserves to be treated like one. Jeff Bezos has another framework. He calls it regret minimization framework. When facing a big decision, he imagined himself at 80 years old looking back and think which one he would regret more, not which one was safer at that moment. So for most people sitting with this decision, the honest answer isn't, I'd regret trying and failing. It's, I regret spending years in a direction I never really stopped to question. And that, by itself, makes staying the riskiest thing of all. This video isn't trying to talk you into quitting your job. I'm an actuary, and this is genuine just how I think about this. I wanted to share my framework because most conversation around this tend to be pretty emotional in either direction, and this is just an attempt to think through it more clearly. Sometimes you run through all of these and the answer is clearly stay. Then great, you are not drifting anymore. You are choosing. That's actually the whole point. We started this video asking, should I quit? Which it turns out a bit like asking, should I eat? Without knowing what's on the menu, or how hungry you are, or whether there's a restaurant nearby. The question isn't wrong, it's just missing all the information that makes it answerable. So here's the information. 3 questions, run through them. 1. Do I have enough runway to make this a real experiment, not a panic move? 2. Is this a type 2 decision, reversible, or am I treating it like it isn't out of fear? 3. When I honestly model both trajectories to their end, am I compounding in a direction I actually choose? If runway is short, build it first. If it's reversible, and it probably is, the risk is smaller than it feels. And if you're not compounding in a direction you choose, that's not safety. That's just drifting. What financial decisions are you overthinking lately? Drop it in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.